this podcast, it's revealed. For the breakdown, let's ignite. Black and gold, we're taking flight. Every story, every fight. For the breakdown, every night.
What's going on, Boiler Nation? It is Tuesday night. It's December 3rd, 2024. Hard to believe we're in the last month of 2024, but here we are. I'm Tanner Lee, and with me in the house, like always, is Evan Webb. Webby, thanks for holding down the fort Sunday with the rare mid-Sunday live pod when the news came out that Purdue was firing Ryan Walters. And thank you to our good friend Aaron Lynch for filling in for me. And you guys did some record numbers for the Boiler Breakdown.
Yeah. I had to laugh because what you said, it broke our record for the last record, was like after some game we beat IU in basketball.
Yeah,
one of the probably ones a couple years ago. Yeah. It was cool to see the little ticker on our end of like seeing how people are watching at a time, and it couldn't keep up with the comments. It was fun. Not a fun topic to discuss, but it was cool to have the interaction. So I appreciate everybody who tuned in. So we know that people just love bad situations.
It's either that or they just love not seeing my ugly mug on the camera. I don't know, man. I don't know how to take it. We'll see. We'll see the numbers look like tonight. But yes, like you guys covered, and like everybody knows, unless they've been living under a rock the past few days, Purdue football coach Ryan Walters was fired at Purdue after 2 seasons with an overall record of 5-19. And now the search is on. The search is on. The big question is, who is next? Who's going to be the next head boss man of Purdue football? And it's hard to even really guess right now. Yeah. There's a lot of names floating out there. I will say, it's very early for us fans, I guess, in the search process, especially if Mike Bobinski's saying it's going to be 7 to 10 days. But you got to think, according to him and in the press conference on Monday, they've been doing the back channels, working the back channels for a while now. So you got to think they're narrowing in on somebody if they don't already have somebody that they've already negotiated with and in current talks with. Maybe even something's already signed.
Yeah. It's hopefully they've got some. You think they'd have a running list at all times. You feel like as an AD, that'd probably be something you always kind of had, on with you, just kind of just a running list in case something happens, a Jeff Brom situation or whatever it is. But yeah, hopefully we know something soon. I'm just tired of waiting already.
Cameron Day wants SMU's Rhett Lashley. He says ag money greater than oil money. He would be a home run higher, I think. I just don't know if he'd leave SMU. He's got a really good thing going right now, and heck, if they beat Iowa State, they're in the playoff.
Yeah.
So,
yes, I assume we'll probably go through maybe our picks, but yes, he's probably my top guy. But yeah, like that's like a pie in the sky, because I just don't think, even though I think like obviously like you got, you'd think Purdue versus Big Ten versus ACC, you'd give nod to the Big Ten, but they've got some stupid money there. I mean, they had billionaires kind of trying to resurrect that program, and they did it. And I think he's a Texas guy, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure he's from Texas. He's definitely got an accent. So
yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where as much as he's probably my number one. Like if you gave me someone to pick, I'd probably pick him. But I don't think we're not gonna outbid SMU.
Well, and it's interesting when you bring up ACC Big Ten comparisons. Big Ten's definitely got more money. Big Ten's probably going to get more teams every year or most years in the playoff. ACC's probably got the easier path.
Oh yeah. Playoff.
So there's different ways you can look at it here. Andy Baird on YouTube, Helton or Chadwell, Montana State guy has one heck of pedigree. Yeah, I've been beating that drum for Montana State for vegan for a little time. Vegan. I'm not sure how you exactly say it. I think it's vegan. But I don't know. It's just, I'm trying to, in my theories and my guesses and my estimates are probably way off, but the 7 to 10 day window, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, okay, it's probably somebody then coaching in a conference championship either Friday or Saturday. Because if not, you think they could get something done beforehand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know like one name that's been thrown out was like Memphis's head coach, but they're not playing this weekend. So you think if it was him, it'd probably be done.
I'd take him.
I'd take him too. When he said that, I thought that, hey, maybe it's a coach that's playing in a conference championship, but also I was like, or is he just given that window because that's a relatively standard window.
True.
So if he doesn't give a window, that's like, oh my God, are these guys even like, is going to be 2 weeks before we get this thing going? Because obviously that 17th window also lines up right before the portal officially opens. So I took it as like both. Yeah, it could be one, a guy that's coaching already, but also could just be he wants to get it done then to make sure we've got a guy before the portal opens.
Yeah, so definitely could. Back to Andy's comment there. Tyson Helton seems to be a betting favorite amongst a lot of people out in Vegas. He was supposedly a finalist in 2022 when Babinski, Grimes, and company went with Ryan Walters. The rumor has it that he didn't interview well, whatever that means. But Purdue's had good luck twice in their history of sports with Western Kentucky coaches and Gene Cady and Jeff Brom. But it does worry me a little bit, like people's expectations right away that he's going to be a Brom 2.0. And I think he's a different dude. I think he's a different cat. Yeah. Like some interviews I've watched with him, he's got a different personality than Jeff Brom. So definitely got the Kentucky accent though. And Chadwell, he was actually my number one. I've kind of moved away from it just because unless we're, throwing a curveball, which I hope we are in this case, I guess. It just doesn't look like that's going to happen. From some reports we've been reading that there could be some personal issues that take him out of the running. And then this morning, I was reading that Central Florida's honing in on him. So I don't know. It's all a guessing game, but it's you got to love and hate coaching searches because you hate going through that because your program either had a good thing going and the guy moved on for what he looks as a better opportunity, or you had something really bad going on, and you're looking for somebody to help turn the program around. And heck, we've been doing this podcast since 2018, and this is the second time we've already went through. Second
and
time,
technically your third time because you started your other podcast
right before Jeff Brom got hired. Yes.
So, he's had already been fired at that point. I guess like you started in like November or something like that.
November 2016, my other podcast. And being a Bronco fan, I've went through in that time 2, 3, 4 coaching searches in 8 years. So fun stuff.
But kind of getting to how we got here, I know Lynch and I didn't really talk about the game. There was not a whole lot to talk about in said game. But I felt like, you and I have both been pretty glass half full or tried to be this year just because there's been so much negativity around the program from just fans and social media and all that. But I felt like definitely on Saturday was definitely a tipping point for both of us. So, what was kind of going through your head?
Oh, I was frustrated. I mean, I've been frustrated all year, but I was frustrated just by the lack of effort. I was like, and I know Indiana's a lot better. They're a way better coach team. Don't get me wrong, but it's your rival, and you had a chance to try to do the funniest thing ever and keep them out of the playoffs in their best season ever. And you didn't even sniff a chance. You didn't. Just from the get-go, I mean, even at half when it was 28-0, before then, it seemed like any time all season long, if Purdue got down by more than 2 touchdowns, they phoned it in.
Yep.
Except Illinois.
Yeah.
That was totally different with the staff knowing the opposing staff and opposing players so well.
Yeah.
I like to think guys didn't quit, but man, it sure looked like it all year long that we just had a lot of guys that just quit when the going got tough. Supposedly, according to Babinski, the locker room never was lost with players and staff. There was never finger pointing or anything, which I guess that's good in hindsight of a 1-11 season. But man, what a miserable season overall, and a miserable pretty much way to start it with your second game of the season against Notre Dame, and then to bookend it with a 66-0 loss. I mean, the 2 worst losses in Purdue football history happening in the same season. I don't. And I don't like. I I don't even want to really go down the weeds of comparing 2013 to 2024 like you guys did, but I do kind of feel like I want to say my part of it just because I didn't get to the other day. I think I'll remember the Walters 2 years as, if you want to call that an era, better than the Hazel 3.5 year era.
Oh yeah.
But as far as a miserable season, this one was more miserable in 2013.
Yeah, I think for me it has anything to do with like expectation. Like I know we weren't really expecting 8 wins or anything like that, but I mean, I think I was, as we talked about on Sunday, I think I projected like 5 wins. I think when we did our kind of our preview, but a chance to maybe get 6 or 7 if we pulled some upsets or some 50-50 games went our way. But just the fact that it was not even close to that, and we weren't even close in most games, that's just it's what makes it so frustrating. Because I think the talent level on this team was way better than 2013. We had a much better quarterback compared to 2013.
There was a lot of NFL talent on that 2013 roster.
There was, that's true.
I don't know. I don't know if talent was ever Hazel's problem. I mean, Brom took that roster, pretty much over and made them bowl winners right away. So I mean, coaching is definitely the name of the game. But it was getting just your doors blown off against the big boys this year. And then even the games you were competitive, the games you should have been on an even level playing field, the Oregon States, the Illinois, Northwestern Michigan State, 3 of those you were, you lost 2 of them in overtime and 1 by a touchdown. You're right there, but you still didn't win the game. Mm-hmm. You got to win. Results matter when it comes down to it. And it just didn't happen.
Yep. Yeah.
Didn't happen. Cameron Days, let's run it back with Hazel. Get him cheap.
Yeah.
He after his days at Purdue, he was 1 year assistant coach on the Vikings, and then has not been in football that I know of since. He's 60 years old now, too.
Wow, I didn't know he was that old.
Yeah. So bring Danny Hope back, coach offensive line. There we go.
That's what I said. Absolutely. I'm down.
I will mention Sean Clark, who was the offensive line coach under Danny Hope and was the Appalachian State head coach. He got fired yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
After 6 years, I believe. So he had a decent record, but that's a program that has some high standards. So
absolutely
for non-power 4. So, but he could be a good position coach. But let's get back to talking about potential head coaches. I mean, we've seen a lot of names out there. We've seen interesting Vegas report today from sportsbetting.ag at Tyson Hilton as the favorite with 7-2 odds, followed by Chip Kelly, current offense coordinator at Ohio State, 4-1 odds.
That one was a shocker.
Yeah, I can't figure that one out. I can't figure that one out. Jeff Monken, who's the current Army head coach, 9-2. Dan Mullen, 11-2, former Mississippi State and former Florida head coach, who's a ESPN analyst in studio analyst right now. Paul Christ, former Wisconsin head coach, 7-1. John Summerall, who's the current Tulane head coach, 8-1. Jason Candle, current Toledo coach, 10-1. Will Stein, who's 12-1. He's the current Oregon office coordinator. Jamarcus Shepard, 14-1, current Alabama office coordinator. Glenn Schumann, current Georgia defense coordinator, 18-1. Tim Albin, current Ohio coach, 18-1. Jamie Chadwell, current Liberty head coach, 22-1. Andy Koltanecki, I believe is how you pronounce that, current Penn State office coordinator, 33-1. Barry Odom, 33-1. He's current UNLV head coach. Charles Huff, 33-1. Current Marshall head coach. Tim Lester, that's not happening. 33-1. He's the current Iowa offense coordinator. After what Babinski said in the press conference about Iowa's offense, that's not happening. And he was part of Hazel's staff in 2016. As the quarterbacks coach. Rich Rodriguez, that's not happening. 40-1. Jacksonville State, and Matt Campbell, 66-1 Iowa State. That would be my number 1 choice.
I think actually looking back, I think Matt Campbell or Rhett, actually, I like Cameron's Mike Gundy. He might be on his way out.
Yeah, he's had good moments. I mean, he's been at Oklahoma State for
ever
06, 07.
I mean, when was I'm 40. When was that?
That was 07.
Like 07, yeah.
But I don't know if Purdue would hire a guy like him that has had a little baggage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I rule out Pat Fitzgerald. I know a few websites have tried to bring up too much baggage. He's still, I think, going through some legal stuff. So I don't I don't see that. If it wasn't for all that, maybe. Yeah, John Gruden's signed with Barstool for years. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt Campbell's interesting because, once again, if Iowa State beats SMU this weekend, they're in the playoff. But Iowa State's really close to Purdue as far as football history. I think Purdue's got the leg up a little bit on Iowa State. Ames and West Lafayette are kind of similar cities. Schools are both engineering schools, cold weather schools. I think he's making $5 to $6 million range, maybe $6 million a year. So Purdue would have to top that on top of the buyout.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he was definitely a hot commodity a few years ago, and then kind of cooled off. But now he's heated up again.
Yeah, he's definitely one I think that would be the home run of home run hires. He's been a coach for a while. He's had some ups and downs. So he's, when he's had the downs, he's been able to build back up. Obviously, as they're one win away from a college football playoff berth. I think that's the big thing. Like some of the names that were thrown out there on that betting website, like there's definitely some intriguing coordinators out there, but I think we just Purdue. It sounds like what Babisky's saying too, which I didn't actually get a chance to watch the presser yet. But it's got to be a guy that has head coaching experience. And that obviously rules out a lot of like up and coming coordinators.
Sure. And preferably I would like an active head coach, as intriguing as maybe a Dan Mullen, or to some people, Paul Chris might be. I mean, they have a lot of connections, don't get me wrong. But I think, instead of trying to put together a staff, it'd be nice if somebody already has a staff that can bring either the whole staff or a lot of the staff with them, and maybe even a few players, because Purdue's going to need some players. Purdue's up to 10, if not 11 guys now that have already put their name in the portal. Doesn't mean they can't take their name out of the portal and come back if they like said new coach and a new coach likes them. But I know you estimated about 25 the other day. I think you're going to be pretty darn close to that number when all things are said and done here in the next week, because Purdue players have a week ahead of, teams who didn't have coaches leave. They got to wait until the 9th to announce. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting. And a big one today was Ryan Brown, backup quarterback who started against Illinois and Oregon. He put his name in the mix. So, I definitely, my preferred coach would be an active head coach that can bring staff and players, like I said, and Babisky hit on this, 2025 is going to be different than any other year in college football. So revenue sharing, all this stuff, NIL is constantly changing. You got to have somebody that's going to adapt that and take it head on. Now, could Purdue's NIL situation get better? Absolutely. Absolutely could, and probably should, and probably needs to. Yeah. But that's why, I like Tim Monken. I like what he's done at Army, but just the fact that he couldn't at least easily bring players with him because the military schools have kind of different rules and standards.
I think you can leave if you're not if you're younger than a junior.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like if you're going to Army, you've got other priorities probably on your mind versus football.
Yes.
And just the fact, getting into West Point isn't exactly like getting into Purdue. It's not exactly an easy thing. So would you leave that opportunity for a football opportunity when obviously you're setting yourself up for much more after you play football when you're at one of the service academies? But I like Monken a lot. He's really intrigued. But just that fact that he wouldn't be able to bring players. There's the whole I know he's basically run the triple option exclusively. At Georgia Tech. Would that work at Purdue in the Big Ten?
I don't think
so. They were ranked.
You got to get the linemen to do it. And Purdue's never been able to recruit the linemen to run the ball, let alone a triple option.
And just the fact that obviously he had some good teams this year, but when he played the one good team Notre Dame, they got Purdue just got absolutely trounced. So that's the one that doesn't be paused, even though as Lynch kind of alluded to, what he said with Troy Calhoun, which thank God we're not seeing his name. Thank God we're not seeing his name. But having a coach from a service academy could be really good for discipline, because the past two coaches, Walters and Braun, we've had a discipline issue where there'd be, pre-snap penalties, or we saw a ton of, dead ball penalties under Brom. Like we obviously think back to the Syracuse game at Syracuse, so just the wheels absolutely came off because of just stupid penalties.
Yep.
So that's intriguing.
Caleb Gerald on Facebook. Paul Chris with Jim Leonard. That'd be interesting. I still think I'm still shocked Jim Leonard didn't get that job a couple years ago. And they went with Fickell. Now Fickell's gonna be in the hot seat going into next year after Wisconsin goes 5-7 and missed a bowl for the first time since 2001.
Had to fire down as a coordinator.
Yep. It's kind of messy up there. Cameron Day on YouTube has Barry Odom made up for his mediocre seasons at Missouri. He went 500 at Missouri, which, for all the praise Jeff Brom gets, and I know he took Purdue out of a dumpster fire and got them to a Big Ten championship, while I will say the Big Ten West was extremely weak and Purdue went 8-4 that year. His record at Purdue is only 2 games over 500. So, but Barry Odom, he's, I think, 19-7 at UNLV and has got them in a conference championship playing Boise State. So didn't
Missouri have some NCAA stuff going on when he was there that was kind of like a cloud hanging over his head, or am I just making that up?
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, so I wonder if that played a part in it.
Well, I know the big thing with him was runaway Josh Heupel. That was his big downfall. So, because he went 1-1 against Brom with Drew Lock. So we beat the tar out of them in Columbia, and then they beat us in a really crazy shootout, which Jared Sparks still had a touchdown at Rothsade. But he's a hot commodity for a reason. He supposedly has interest from North Carolina and West Virginia. So, and that's one thing. Right now, there's only 4 Power 4 jobs open: Purdue, North Carolina, West Virginia, and Central Florida. So, wouldn't shock me if some others eventually come open, but they're probably not going to be coming open when we're going to make the hire. So. Yeah. So, I guess let's go down the list of some of these candidates, and you give me a yay or nay, and maybe some reasons why. We'll start with Tyson Helton.
He's one. It's growing on me. He was one last time the search came around. I wasn't big on it because it just felt like, we're just going back to the going back to the same well with not saying he's maybe it was just because he came from Western Kentucky. That's really the only reason why. Even though I guess he was on Brom's staff for a year or so, I think. But he's growing on me. I think he's proven he can win there. I don't think Western Kentucky has the best resources compared to other Conference USA teams. But he's proven he can win. He's had some good offensive coordinators that have. I know the one took the FAU job a couple of years ago, or is he the one who just got fired? I don't even know. But the way he's at right now, I'm not a big fan. Because I said to you and Andrew the other day that I think the last 3 games they put up like 7. They haven't put up very many points the last 3 games. So it's like I'd be fine with it if he brought in a different offensive coordinator. Maybe I'd be cool with it, like a Jamarcus Shepard with that, like team up with that. I know Brian Brom's name has been thrown around, which is just kind of wild to think about.
He needs to get away from his brother.
He needs to get away from his
brother. He's got to establish. And I think he actually interviewed for the Florida Atlantic job. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole interview thing, which I want to say when this is an interview, well, I
don't know what that means exactly.
Yeah, it's like or was just when they say that, was that just a way just to say Walter just interviewed way better? Right. I don't know, but also again, I get interviewing is important, but at the end of the day, yes, that's important. Can they convey they have a plan on how to succeed at a place like Purdue? But he has won, and he's won consistently. So that speaks a lot. He wouldn't be my first, but I don't think I wouldn't be. I like it more than I did 48 hours ago. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was on my initial top 5 towards the back. Yeah. So he wouldn't be my first choice, but we could do worse, I think. And it does worry me a little bit. Keep going to this West Kentucky. Are we just trying to do that just because of what happened last time? But in the Conference USA is not what it used to be at one time for Western Kentucky. It's a little easier now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. Chip Kelly.
No.
Yeah, I think I'm there with you. I mean, he would bring some buzz. I mean, at one time he was the best play caller in all of football, NFL and college, but he left UCLA for a reason.
Yeah.
Don't know if he even wants to be a head coach. He might just want to be offensive coordinator, but he might be interested thinking, crud, if we get knocked out of the playoffs, I might be, Day and I might both be scapegoats. So,
yeah. I mean, their play calling in the Michigan game was
bad.
Just bad and baffling. What worries me with him is, I mean, obviously he was great at Oregon, but you have Nike money there, which is all the reasons in the world. I think at UCLA he was about 500. Obviously he's got the NFL experience, so he's got a ton of connections, I'm sure.
Right.
But yeah, it sounds like just the vibe I get from him is like he doesn't want to be a head coach in today's modern football. It'd be a splash. It'd be a huge splash, that's for sure. And I think you definitely get some recruiting bumps because of it. I just don't know how, would he be in it for long haul, or he'd just be kind of like, hey, let's just see how this goes. And if it doesn't work, hey, at least I'll get a nice buyout.
Right. How about, we already talked about Monken a little bit. How about John Summerall from Tulane? More of a defensive-minded head coach, but he's won at Troy and Tulane.
Yeah, he's actually – so I made a list of candidates. I had about I had 4 realistic choices, and I had 3 kind of pie in the sky guys, and Summerall's on my pie in the sky because I just don't know if he has no Midwest, which I'm not sure how much stock he put in Midwest ties. I think it does matter a little bit. I mean, just kind of knowing the recruiting landscape, and I said every place in this country has its own little culture, and there's definitely there definitely is a Midwest culture thing, and do you fit in with that?
Sure.
And but he's a winner. I mean, that's all he's done is win at multiple stops. He's definitely going to have his pick of any job he wants. You wonder though, is he fine with just waiting another year until something like a Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida State, Kentucky? Yeah, I think he played at Kentucky, didn't he?
Yeah, and some people are speculating that's the furthest north he'd probably go. Some people said would state of Kentucky.
So. Yeah, so he's on my list of shoot for the stars, make him say no. But I don't think he would take it.
How about Jason Candle from Toledo?
No, I'm out on this one.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are high up on him.
I don't know why, but I am.
I mean, from my understanding, what bothers me, he's been there for 10 years. So it's maybe he does just like it. I don't know. I'm not sure why. I've been in Toledo. I don't get it, but hey.
Caleb Gerald, there we go for staff. John Gruden, head coach, Scott Frost, OC, and Lovie Smith, DC.
There we go.
He says, ha, everybody. So
yeah.
Oh boy, could you imagine?
$30 million staff, probably.
Oh my God, at least. Matt coaches just overall kind of scare me, and it's just because, and it's hard when it comes to coaching searches because you're like, what worked for somebody might not work for you. What didn't work for somebody might work for you. But you look at the Big Ten and the history of Matt coaches, a lot of them don't do well. PJ Fleck has. Minnesota, and surprisingly, he's stayed there the whole time. I still can't believe that we're 8 years in and he's still there. But so when we're talking about Candle at Toledo, Chuck Martin at Miami, Ohio, that's starting to pick up some steam, Albin at Ohio. I mean, we could probably do worse than all 3 of those guys. And I know some college football experts or quote unquote experts really are high on Martin and Albin because especially Martin, he took over just a horrendous job at Miami, Ohio, and went 64 and 66 there. And he did wonderful things at Grand Valley State, but they were a Division II power at the time. And he's worked with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. But it's just something about Matt coaches I just don't like. Maybe it's still PTSD from Darrell Hazel. I don't know.
Yeah, I think what I look at too is,
Creighton from Eastern Michigan. I forgot about him too. Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah.
Another one.
The programs that they're at, because in every conference, certain programs are just inherently set up better with resources and funding, whatever it is, than some of their other conference foes, and I look at, when you look at these coaches, like, are they at a program that just has kind of just the resources better than everybody else, and that could be play a part in why they're successful. And I think Toledo's up there with some of those. In terms of the MAC, I think they have a lot of resources compared to some of their other ones. So that worries me, because when you come to Purdue, yes, we have resources, obviously, but when you're up against Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, USC, like, we see what Indiana's starting to spend. Illinois is starting to spend. Can you win when you don't have the top resource budget at your disposal? So that worries, and that's why I'm kind of out at him. And again, like, one of those things where it's like, he's been there for so long. Why hasn't he taken the step? Is it just because he doesn't want to? Is it because people have gotten scared off? That's what gives me pause. And whether that's fair or not is another thing. But with him, like, I've been not a fan of that option since like it was floated out in September.
Justin Ullman's Bill Belichick coming out of retirement. Now we're talking.
There you go. Yeah.
Reading in the hoodie.
Yeah.
He puts together good staff. Guarantee that.
Yeah, he would.
Guarantee that much. We could get some guys through the portal without even paying much if you hire Bill Belichick.
Who was his defensive coordinator who took over and was a disaster? Or no, I think he went to Detroit before they got Campbell. Beard.
Matt Patricia.
Yeah. Bring him as DC. Why not?
Then he came back to the Patriots and was like OC for a little bit. He pulled a Ryan Walters. It was awful. Yeah. Good old Bill. He's better on TV than I thought he would be. I'll be honest with the Mannings bring out some humor out of Bill. So nice to see.
Yeah.
How about Charles Huff from Marshall?
No.
I'm out on this one.
I'm out on that one.
I'm out on this one. I'm sorry. I hope he gets a Southern Miss job or Marshall extends him because it just scares me. And, and maybe it's not fair. And maybe it's not fair to say this, but, a lot of people are giving the ties with Tiffany Grimes. And if she was really a huge part of the reason why Ryan Walters got hired, that just scares me again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one that, and it sounds like, and when you read, which obviously, what we read, who knows how true it is or not, but it sounds like, he's trying to get out of that place. So it's like, is that that scares me a little bit. It's like, he's, they're not doing well. I mean, they're not great.
They're in their conference championship this weekend.
That's true. Yeah. I think confused with Marshall.
They've had a good season this year, I will say.
Yeah. But when the guy's trying to run away from a situation, like, why? Like, what's the reason? Is it like, obviously, people are always trying to move up, but when you're just like actively talking about like, hey, I need to get out of here, like that scares me a little bit.
Well, and anytime somebody has Saban ties right away, everyone's like, oh my God, he's got ties with Nick Saban, assistant coach. Doesn't always mean much.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb Gerald on Facebook. I know Creighton, and he is a good coach, but not sure at this level. Brother played for him here at Wabash College. That's pretty cool. No, I agree. I think he's done a great job turning around arguably the worst program in FBS in Eastern Michigan, even though that still gives me PTSD too. Talking about them, but
I think some of these guys you could also maybe try and convince maybe come on as a coordinator. We're kind of seeing that with some of these guys. I mean, it sounded like had Walter stayed, he had talked with what's his face at Akron about potentially being
Joe Moorhead,
offensive coordinator. So maybe if you can get a more experienced head coach at a different level, you might be able to take some of these guys as a coordinator position. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, we're seeing that more and more because that's kind of the new way to get your foot in the door. I mean, heck, even Gus Malzahn leaving Central Florida to go to Florida State.
Yeah.
Or Chip Kelly, like we said, UCLA to Ohio State. We're seeing that more and more, all of a sudden. So it is crazy to think. I know this is kind of a different rabbit hole, but Florida State also just took Nebraska's defense coordinator.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska wasn't willing to pay what Florida State was going to.
That's wild.
Well, Nebraska's not willing to pay somebody on the football side?
When I read that, I thought that was crazy because I thought
we
did not see that with Nebraska.
No. So, and I don't think this is happening, but I'll throw it out there anyway. How about Chadwell from Liberty?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's my top of the realistic candidates, I think. My list of 4 realistic, he'd be the one I think I would choose. He can, like I say, he's won big wherever he's gone. seems to be a really coach, really good coach, innovative. He's kind of a firecracker too. Like that could be fun. I was reading what is it?
His rival Cincinnati.
Yeah, so he's already got some built-in feuds with Cincinnati. So that would just be fun from a fan standpoint of it'd make the rivalry really fun. But yeah, I don't think it's happening. I think he's probably the top choice for UNC or West Virginia, or one of them probably right now. And I think he's from that
or like way. I said, Central Florida's trying to make him their focal, but
who knows too if that's like an agent floating stuff to try and getting war. Who knows? But yeah,
and that's a hard part during coaching searches.
Yeah,
who to follow, who to trust. I mean, I like to think Golden Black's the best of the best, the insiders, but I got to be honest, I don't know if they handled the whole information with Ryan Walters the best during the season when they kept saying he was going to be retained, or leaning that way, and then Bobinski saying otherwise. Maybe Bobinski's the one fibbing. I don't know. Yeah. But Football Scoops is usually pretty good. They're pretty within the know. They use, and then Pete Thamel, of course. If you hear something from Pete Thamel,
it's
he's in the know. Yeah. Killer General, you got your guys' thoughts on Bill O'Brien? I think he's a good head coach. I think he's done good things his first year at Boston College. He's an East Coast guy to me.
Yeah.
I think we had a chance in 2022 maybe to get him.
Wasn't there something with his? Doesn't he have with a kid that there's a reason he was out there?
Correct. His kids. I think his kid has cancer or something. Maybe not cancer. He's got he or she's got something, and they got a really good center out there for that. Yeah. He's an East Coast dude. So
yeah, good coach. Yeah, I mean 2022, I would probably have been more about it, but now obviously he's done a pretty good job. But I just can't see us pulling him from.
I mean, hell, if this search is like 2022, it's going to be somebody we haven't even discussed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know any other. I'm trying to think of Power 4 coaches. I don't think Purdue could, outside of maybe trying Matt Campbell. I don't know really any they could pull.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like we talked about, you think, Big Ten and SEC are definitely the two powers of college football right now, just from size and teams. But still, I think it'd be really hard to pull unless you're pulling from a low level like ACC team. I mean, there's a whole Wake Forest's coach was one name that was brought up, but I'm not.
I'm out on Clawson.
Clawson, yeah.
His name always comes up, and
he
hasn't had good seasons lately. I know Wake Forest, tough place to win. Don't get me wrong, but no, I'm out on Clawson, and Purdue's a tough place to win. Yeah, I do think Purdue's a good job and an attractive job, though, but that doesn't mean it's easy. I still think it's a tough job.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. You could probably argue it was better when it was in the Big Ten West just because of the fact that we didn't have to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State every year. And now, obviously you don't know year to year. But it's, I mean, I think one thing you can definitely point to, because what worries me is the NIL situation. They're reading that Q&A with Walters. It doesn't sound like Braum and co. They had no NIL whatsoever set up for the football team to start. So we kind of an uphill battle there. But so that worries me. But I think obviously, one thing that AD can point to is we had the highest attendance since 07 this year. So it's the support's
05.
This is 05. The support's going to be there if you just, give us something to cheer for. Make it fun. Don't embarrass us as a fan base.
Oh, because it's going to be tough sled next year with the schedule. You give me 4 wins right now, I'd take that. SIU and Ball State should be wins. Then should be able to steal 2 in conference, I would think, somewhere.
It's always about like a Munkin about not being able to bring guys. It's I feel with him, I think yes, he could get there eventually and be a really good coach, but it's man, without being able to bring players and I'm not sure how he navigates the portal and NIL waters, it could be bad next year.
Would our fans have patience?
Exactly.
They all say they're going to be patient right now, but say we go 2-10 or 3-9, even if we do look a little more competitive,
Yeah.
Can't tell me there's not going to be complaining. So
right. Especially if some of those are like blowouts to like
Ed here on YouTube, a close source to me told me the decision to hire John Gruden, I guess, or maybe you're trying to joke here, say Grudem is made. Have to call Dave Portnoy there, negotiate a buyout. He's multi-year contract with Barstool, so yeah. No, I know, honest to God, he wants one more shot somewhere eventually, but just the way that all went down, and I will say, I don't condone anything he said in emails, but I think he was also the fall guy for many. I think there was many others in that didn't take the fall. But yeah, I don't know. He would never come to Purdue. He does have ties to Indiana, but
yeah.
Just know there's no reason Purdue should be this far out of the NIL game. I agree.
I agree.
I do got a slow start.
Yeah, and I do wonder how much like Painter and his success without needing the NIL war chests maybe impacts this. Just because like he's obviously doing exceptionally well without having to go out and buy players like in Illinois or in Indiana is doing on the basketball court. And so I wonder like if you're like, if Painter can do it this way, like we can do it that way, which I think in football is just a totally different beast.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it is what like you get what you pay for, especially on the football, like with football field, like you need. And obviously, as we saw this last year, it didn't obviously pan out. Like the guys we brought in were just total whiffs. But yeah, I am very disappointed with how the NIL situation is going. I do wonder too. I mean, part of that's too on the fan base, which I think is just the way the Purdue fan base as a whole. It's like we don't have the like you see at school like Indiana, Notre Dame, Tennessee. Tennessee, I think, is a great example of like just like rabid fan bases, like who have no association with the university whatsoever, but are willing to, take out a second mortgage on their and too like just like obviously a lot of these places too are funded by billionaires. So like we don't like. I know, obviously Purdue has a lot of successful alumni, but I'm not sure if they're willing to, fund the football program like this, or if they'd rather give it to a school or whatever. I have no idea. Whereas like some of these billionaires can just like write blank checks just because it's an ego thing. Like I have no idea.
Comments are flying in, and we appreciate everybody. This makes a lot of fun. Let me catch up on some of these. Bob on YouTube, Jeff Monken would be great. I know a lot of people like that. Like I said, my only concern with him is not being able to bring players easily, and not having experience with the NIL and the portal really. In his offense, I think you'd have to change his offense up.
Yeah.
But from a discipline standpoint, don't think his team would get a lot of dumb penalties. That's for sure. And then he said Ed Orgeron. That's a name I haven't heard yet. Go Boilers. Go Boilers.
It'd be hilarious. It'd be a disaster, but it'd be hilarious.
The press conferences would be Danny Hope on steroids.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Carl on YouTube, the 2025 team must show up and play with solid fundamentals on offense and defense, be competitive, and win 3 to 5 games. Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. Rudy on YouTube. I like 2 guys. Go to Ames, Iowa, and talk to Matt Campbell. In Manhattan, Kansas, and talk to Chris Kleeman. 2 coaches born and raised in Midwest, Kansas State, and Iowa State. Like I said, Campbell would be my pipe dream.
Yeah,
make Campbell say no is what I would do.
But. Yeah. Cleveland's name I've seen as like as a pipe dream for some fans, but it'd be tough. But I think like if you're pretty, make him say no because you never know. I have no idea.
Yep. Doug and Angie Lotta here say Helton, Monken, or a Kendall. Definitely 3, I think, are in the mix. Let's see. Carl here. Do that, and the fans will continue to fill the stadium.
Assuming he's
earlier, saying the 3 to 5 wins, be competitive. Ed, we need someone with experience, somewhat older. I assume wisdom comes with it. Someone with discipline.
Yeah, I think that's part of what did Walters in was just, he was young, and why wouldn't you take this job as a young guy? But you don't know what you don't know, unfortunately.
Right.
And he found out pretty damn quick.
The one thing I applaud him for being honest and doing this interview right away, but I didn't like how he said, well, if I would have looked at the job closer and realized the roster and the schedule, you can find that out pretty easily with the common research. I mean, wasn't hard to look up. So, yeah. Doug and Angie, I like Ryan Day after he's fired. The timing might not be right. I don't think Purdue can wait that long, unfortunately.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, somebody, assuming, I really think if he doesn't win the college football playoff, I do think he's going to get fired, which is just bonkers to me. Yeah. But so he'll land on his feet, though. Yeah, I think he is a good football coach. Yeah. I really do. I really do. And he seems like an okay guy. I mean, not the best guy, but he's not there's a lot more guys who are more bigger jerks, I guess, to put it nicely. Caleb Gerald, only one guy for the job, Brian Kelly. That's the way for me to cancel my season tickets.
Yeah, God. What a accent. He all of a sudden try and adapt like a Michigan accent, like a UP accent.
Oh, no. He would all of a sudden be taking engineering classes. he just
he all of a sudden he has 4 engineering degrees. He has every single one. He has a chemical, he's got a mechanical, he's got civil.
Oh my God.
He's got his PhD in mechanical engineering. Yeah, he's probably gonna teach classes too.
What kind of cool dance videos can we get him to do?
Him and Purdue.
That was the most cringy thing ever on social media.
Yeah. If he brings back Rowdy, why not?
Was it? Did he do something like this or something?
I don't know. I've tried to block it from my memory. I saw it once and I was like, I can never unsee this. It's etched in my memory forever.
And what is the idea criteria you'd like to see in the new coach? I would like to see an active head coach, of course, that has some experience, that can bring a staff with them, some players with them, and that's willing to buy into the NIL, the portal, and the ever-changing world of college football. I mean, like Bobinski said at his press conference yesterday, 2025 with the revenue sharing coming aboard on July 1st, it's going to change everything. So
yeah. And for me, kind of building off that, I like coaches that maybe had to, I guess I mentioned already, if you didn't tune in earlier, but coaches that maybe have won at places that aren't like the top resource, places that have the most resources in their conference or respective area. And so that attracts me because it's like, this guy knows what it takes to win where it may not be the easiest. Maybe if a guy took over, and this is, it's not always going to find this, but if a coach has built up a program that maybe was like in the toilet, like that obviously is attractive because it's like, hey, like he knows what it takes to, because right now we're kind of in a rebuilding mode. Like when Walters came in, it was kind of, hey, let's try and just keep going. But now it is quite the opposite. So,
yeah. And really, I would prefer, I guess, an offensive coach, but that's not a deal breaker with me. I think there are good coaches out there. There are defensive minded coaches that can actually hire a good coordinator, and not one that's more name than substance, I guess. What about Pat Fitzgerald? We hit on that a little earlier, Rudy. Too much baggage, I think. Yeah,
and once again to the NIL era, like he did not do well.
He looked like an old man yelling at clouds.
Yeah, I forgot about that whole thing. But he was just blaming everything on the youth, and that was annoying. Yep. Yeah, I'm out on him.
Bob, what about Dan Mullen or the JMU head coach? Mullen makes me nervous. I mean, he'd be a big name. He'd create some buzz, but he not active coach. And I know it sounds weird because he coached at Mississippi State, and I think Mississippi State is a very relatable job to Purdue.
Yes,
whereas you're not the biggest school in the state like Mississippi, Indiana, for the fans. But would it be a step down for him? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's not like a lot of these guys that this would definitely be a step up.
Hold on. What do we have here?
3-man band is back.
It's been a while.
Look at that.
It's been a while.
Our third man of the podcast, Andrew Eiler. Andrew, we had to get you on for the first time this year because you've been because you love coaching. You love coaching.
We don't miss in basketball. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we're 50 minutes in and we haven't even talked basketball. If that tells you anything. So, but Andrew, what are your thoughts so far on the coaching search? What are some names? I think we've talked about every name that we've cut up, but we want to get your your opinion on the guys who have kind of been brought up. What's your list look like?
Well, first off, pretty sad for Ryan Walters. Was really hoping he was going to be successful, but obviously it wasn't working out. But yeah, a lot of names, wide ranging. Definitely want someone that's been a head coach, kind of learned from that. Kind of, I want someone who's probably currently a head coach. Dan Mullen, I know he's a big name, and yeah, was successful down south in the SEC, but also like hasn't been coaching. No one knows if he's even interested, but wouldn't be like super thrilled with that hire. A guy like Paul Chris, kind of same thing, would have been good 5-6 years ago, but again, hasn't been coaching.
He's boring
for a
as
while.
hell. That's the thing about Chris. But if he wins games, I don't care. So
yeah, like being Iowa wouldn't be the most fun, but also they're pretty consistently winning like 8+ games. So you probably talked about like my number one for a while has been like Jamie Chadwell, but that's probably clearly not happening, which kind of was. And then Summerall at Tulane also would have been another good one, but also doesn't seem likely. Kind of talk like Jason Candle's been another one at Toledo I'd be okay with. It doesn't seem all that exciting to me, but again, he's pretty consistently and he wins. Why not, Evan? What's wrong with him?
I talked about this earlier. I think Toledo inherently just has a lot more resources compared to a lot of other MAC schools, and that scares me because going to Purdue, obviously we have resources, obviously, but like compared to the Michigans, Ohio States, the Oregons, the USCs, Penn State. That worries me. Of like, is he just used to is having success just because they have the most resources? And he's been there a decade.
He wouldn't be like number one for me or anything like that. I'd be okay with him over. Like I'd probably prefer him over. I don't know. Where would you put him? I would take him relative to like Mullen or Christ.
Yeah, I would take him over. I would take him over Christ. I would take him over like a coordinator, just of someone. I mean, there's been some cool like coordinator names thrown out there, like the guy at Penn State, the offensive at Penn State,
Stein from Oregon.
Yeah, that's kind of. But like, I just can't. I don't think we can do it.
Ed said the new coach should be offensive minded, kind of like Tiller, basketball and grass type thing. Our identity is the cradle of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Just don't go air raid. Don't go air raid.
No Jeff Monken then come run.
We've talked about Monken a lot. I mean, he's a very intriguing candidate, but
I'd be fine. I'd be okay with it. It'd be different. It'd be interesting. Plus bring hopefully some discipline. Obviously, the one thing
he definitely bring that.
I'm sure you talked about. I guess the one thing I don't know, because being at Army, I don't know. He's been there for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah.
2014. How much recruiting does he really have to do? Because he kind of Army recruits himself.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go to a service academy, like, okay, I guess if there are those type of athletes or people that want to go into a service academy, I guess he's competing against Navy, Air Force. I mean, not nobody, but again, it's not competing against Iowa, Ohio. Yeah. I mean, not that Purdue competes with like Ohio State or Michigan for recruits, really. I mean, it's kind of like we talk about those peers: Illinois, Iowa, Michigan State, Wisconsin. Kind of even, yeah.
Bob saying James Madison head coach would be his first choice. He wins everywhere he goes. It sounds just dumb, but I don't think they do it just because IU did it. Yeah, I really don't.
I don't think Levinsky's that. I get it would look funny.
We would get trolled for the whole offseason.
It would be miserable as a fan.
It would be the IU fans would have a heyday. But if in 12 months if Purdue, if Purdue wins 6 games with their tough schedule next year, and he's a defensive coach, though, right? He's a defensive coordinator.
I don't know much about him, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think he's a defensive guy. That's back to what you talked about with Toledo having resources. Miami of Ohio, I know nothing about other than that I would assume that they probably do okay, but I don't know. I have no idea where they rank as far as resources. But Chuck Martin was at first I was like, no thanks, just because I was like, I don't know who this is, Miami of Ohio, and then I think they said he's like 40-17 or something like that in the MAC in the last few years.
Took over an absolute dumpster fire. I think he won 5 games the first 2 years. They had won like 8 the previous 3 or 4, and then he's done pretty well after those first 2 years. So the thing that he's 59, that doesn't really bother me, but even though, but he doesn't like technology. I saw a snippet of a press conference today. He hates the iPads and stuff. He goes, anybody can be head coach now. You just look at the iPad and it pretty much draws up the play for you. I miss the days when everybody was just a coach and you actually had to make in-game adjustments. Blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, maybe that's not the guy we want.
Hey, old school football guy. Like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, that's true.
He's a football guy.
That's true. Caleb Gerald did say Miami of Ohio is cradle of coaches.
I saw that. I read that today as well somewhere else. Who's the guy at Ohio? Albin? Is that right?
Albin, yeah, they play each other in the MAC championship, Miami, Ohio, and Ohio. So Rudy Morris says, call me crazy, but give me Jimbo Fisher, national champion head coach. He can probably get him cheap. Jimbo got treated unfairly at A&M. Watch out for Jimbo in West Virginia.
Yeah.
He's from that area. So
Rich Rod isn't going back to West Virginia?
He's rumored out there too. Rich Rod round 2.
God.
So here's one that has not got brought up at all. Lindsey Bell on Brent Key would be good. Lineman mindset would work great. He played at Georgia Tech. That's where he's coaching. I don't.
Oh, the head coach at Georgia Tech. Yeah,
he does. I mean, he's got a tough team. I like their team a lot.
Yeah,
I watched that Georgia game.
Yeah,
but I
think that
being an alum playing, I don't know.
Yeah,
and is he gonna?
It's hard to get him away from their alumni sometimes, but he would be awesome.
Is he going to be? Is he the head coach? No, he's
Georgia Tech head coach.
Yeah, head coach. Would he? Yeah. Why would he? I guess I don't think he's leaving.
Yeah.
Because then with that, it's like, if something doesn't go right, if 2 years maybe don't go well, do we worry about him just getting poached right back?
Yeah, like Rudy said, yeah. I think everybody would be on board with Brett Key if he could get him, but I don't. He hasn't come up for any jobs.
So the one that I don't know. I know we've talked about it in text. The one that I've always felt most likely, Tyson Helton, is who I might pick. If I were to say that's who it's going to be, that's who I would say there. Because
what intrigues you about him?
Oh, I don't. I'm not even. I think he'd be. I don't know. Kind of another boring one, I guess. I don't know. Seems relatively safe just because he's been moderately successful. I guess he's got a semi-big name because his brother was a big. I remember his brother when his brother was USC head coach. Feels like forever ago.
Yeah, it does.
It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah. It's at Georgia Southern now, I believe.
Yeah. So he was because his brother was like a big name up and comer a while ago, it seemed like, and then kind of struggled. I don't know. Feels like a repeat of, the program's in ashes after Darrell Hazel. We hired Jeff Brown from Western Kentucky. Program's in ashes after the worst season, potentially. Let's go back to Western Kentucky, who's in a conference championship game. And
Brian Brom. Rudy's asking about Brian Brom.
I'd like him back on the staff, probably not as head coach.
Yeah, same with Shep.
Just they don't have that experience yet.
What if you make Jamarcus Shepard or Brian Brom head coach with a Dan Mullen as associate at head coach of some advisor role, or Paul Chris, somebody like that who's not coaching but has been a head coach to be on staff. Not that they would
show me the whole staff first.
Yeah. You have to.
I mean, it'd be kind of like the coach in waiting almost. Like it's like, is he really the head coach or not? I mean, if you hire somebody like that, but
Scorpion Beast got another Jeff Monken fan here. Bring the triple option.
I'd be in for Jeff Monken.
I think the first year would be bad. I mean, I like Monken. I think he'd be, as I've said on here already, I think he'd be a really good coach with discipline. But just the fact that he wouldn't be able to bring not many, if at all, any players with him.
But also, like, to that point, I mean, he's getting it. Like we talked about, he doesn't really recruit. Maybe he does. I would assume he doesn't really. I'm just thinking about, I mean, if you're going to the Service Academy, it's really hard to go to the Service Academy.
So you're going to West Point.
Only
in the West Point.
and the number, the people who can get in and who want to go, I mean, you're pretty limited on the type of players that you can get there. And he's done well without really being able to recruit. I guess there's that way. I mean, the offense is unique and people know what he's going to do. and it gets it to work. So maybe now I'm kind of talking myself the other way. Maybe if he's actually able to recruit and has a wider range of people or players to pull from, maybe he could do even better.
That's the problem. We're so desperate for decent coach. We could talk ourselves into any candidate right now.
Which is what I said, man. When Braum was hired, it took 24 hours. You're like, fine, and then 24 hours, like, man, really like it.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Ryan Walters. At first, I'm like, what? And then 24 hours, 48 hours later, I'm like, ready to go.
Whoever.
I did the same thing for Hazel. Hope I was a little younger. I was in high school, but still,
Were you going back to Hazel? Were you at the game where he came to the paint crew and like walked around? I'm not sure if you were in line yet, but he came like right after he was hired. He came before one of the basketball games and like passed out pizza to the paint crew. Like it was like, so no, I stood in line.
I think we played Michigan State and I had an exam that night.
Okay. Well, there was one game he did that. I remember like I shook his hand and he made like direct eye contact with me and did not stop looking straight in my eyes, and it really freaked me out. I should have known then, but it was kind of scary. He was wearing a suit, it was
for the spring I worked with them as a manager. That sounds right. That checks out pretty closely. So Andrew, I was saying my number one candidate would be Matt Campbell. I don't know how realistic it is, but I'd make him say no before
I don't think him, Lance
Leipold. We haven't talked about him, the guy from Kansas.
Those two would be awesome, but I don't know if they're realistic. I would say be great. I'm kind of with you, I guess, but I mean, I feel like Matt Campbell's would probably has been everybody's first call in the country for the last 5 years.
Yeah. I think he kind of cooled off the last 2 years, and then he back up again this year.
I guess if he was going to move, it should have been a while ago, but now he's coming back up. But
when do you guys think a decision's made? I mean, do you think we know by Sunday?
I kind of wonder if they already have somebody, but they're in a conference game, so it's not gonna come out. But it's pretty crazy. There's no leaks. I bet it's Monday. I'm gonna say it's like Sunday, Monday, but.
So let's say it is somebody playing in a conference championship. That would be either
Helton,
Tyson Helton, Western Kentucky plays against Rich Rod. I don't think Rich Rod's happening. It would be Munkin, Army, which Army's got another game next week against Navy. Yeah. Nobody's talking about that. He goes against Tulane, who's their head coach is escaping right now.
And I guess Babinski, Summerall. Tulane's
Summerall, thank you.
Babinski did say 7. State. I guess does that knock Munkin out if Babinski says 7 to 10 days, and you don't think Munkin's going to leave before the Army Navy?
He wouldn't leave, but he might leave before their bowl game. I couldn't,
But the Army Navy game would be
cool, though. It could give some cool pre-pub if he does take a pre-job and still coaches that game. It's like it'd be a lot of talk about Purdue, whether or not that really matters, but.
You got Albin at Ohio and Martin at Miami, Ohio. Campbell at Iowa State. Charles Huff at Marshall. Brett Lashley. I mean, it's not happening, but SMU. So there's a lot of potential candidates right there this weekend.
I know, Tanner, I think you said in our text, you probably talked about it. Huff at Marshall. Not a fan.
No. He might be my least candidate of the ones that are getting thrown out there. Yeah, and I was looking at his offenses haven't been that good. So I don't know. I know it doesn't have to be an offensive-minded head coach, but Bob says he has a hunch it'll be Helton. Rudy here. I just have a feeling Babinski is going to surprise us with a coach that we thought we couldn't get. This is a legacy pick for Babinski. I think he feels bad about the Walters hire. Well, as he should. I mean, it didn't work out, and you had to fire him after 2 years. So, yeah.
Hopefully everybody's learned, because I mean, I think at the time I get it. I mean, they even said I think they talked about it or Babinski in an interview or at the press conference announcing Walters. It was we think he's a rising star and get him on the way up before it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I mean. All the interviews leading up to it.
He would have probably got a job this past offseason if we didn't hire him down. So
I mean, Newbert kind of brought up a good point. Like, it's kind of what Oregon did with Dan Lanning. It just really didn't work out for them. It just really worked out for them, and not for.
And now when you look at it, it was like, okay, did he should have had way more experience on the staff. When you fire an offensive coordinator and it's like, oh, we have nobody who can call an offense.
Who has called plays? Yeah, we have zero.
Yeah,
like the one guy did.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he did it in high school. Nothing against Jason Simmons.
Yeah.
Like a lot of good things. I know Tanner, you heard. I mean, talking with a friend from Rochester who liked him a lot. Yeah, I'm sure he was fine, but it was just okay. That I don't know. That was like a big red flag, and it's like, oh, cool. That's a pretty bad staff construction.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah, really bad, really bad. Ed Sayer says Brian Brown coaching the bowl game did not do well. Not sure about him.
I don't think
you put Vince Lombardi in his prime. He's not beating that LSU team that day. Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors.
Jaden Daniels.
Malik Neighbors.
And who even played for Purdue that day?
Quarterback was oh my God, I'm blanking on his name.
He was a UCLA kid, right?
Austin Burton.
Oh yeah, Austin Burton.
Yeah.
We had nobody. Yeah, that was.
What's that? We saw 2 losses worse than that this year. Yeah.
I don't know if they felt like it though. I just remember yeah.
No, these felt bad. These felt worse.
Yeah, maybe it's because I turned them off earlier.
Rudy, will Purdue hire Drew Brees as GM like Stanford hired Andrew Luck? I don't think Drew wants to come back right now. I think he's very involved with his kids' activities.
Why would you want to come back right now?
I mean, he'd have to move his family to West Lafayette for the job. I just don't think, maybe someday, I just don't think now's the right time.
I think he's enjoying the retired life and his millions upon millions of dollars.
Alimo did play a lot that game. You're right. Then he transferred somewhere in the MAC and didn't do very well. I don't remember where he went. Kent State? Kent State, I think.
Maybe.
Doug and Angie bring up a good point. Brian Brom did beat Iowa in 2020 when Jeff had COVID. That's true. Yep. So he's 1-1 as a Purdue coach. My God, he about had as many wins as Ryan Walters.
I'd kind of like it for him to come back just as like stick it to the Brown family a little bit. Just because
would we start scheduling Louisville?
Someone in this state has to. Oh, I'm sorry to say. I had a list. Where was it here? I had 3 pie in the skies, which were Matt Campbell, John Summerall, and Rhett Lashley. And my more realistic candidates were Jamie Chadwell, Barry Odom, Tyson Helton, and Jeff Munkin. But Helton had the caveat of he has to bring a dynamic OC, not his current one, because I don't like his current one.
Why do you think? I mean, I agree. Like Barry Odom at UNLV. It seems like people think that's kind of like a long shot. Like he's not even considered at Purdue, or he's above Purdue almost.
He's a Midwestern guy. That's why I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand that either. Like when you sent the odds and he was like 20th or something on like the odds, and I thought he would have been higher. Again, who cares? That doesn't mean anything. And to what?
Dion was on that list.
Yeah,
I'll quit. That's another way to get me to him and Brian Kelly. Those are 2 ways to get me not to renew my season tickets.
One, there's no way he's leaving to come to West Lafayette, Indiana. If he's leaving, he's going to the NFL. And I don't think Babinski will handle.
I don't think he's leaving that period. I think he's in Boulder for a while.
Babinski wouldn't handle his drama.
Well, there was a whole video of like the reason Dion's doing so well this year is because they're letting him be Dion. I'm not sure Purdue would let him.
Oh, they definitely, but Colorado was in worse shape than Purdue.
Oh yeah, it was like they did it because like it was like we are at the bottom of the bottom. Like do anything, please save us, and it worked.
And okay, but Brock back would be good. He would give us stability, but Purdue for some reason does not want to. I would love him in an advisor role.
Yeah,
if he was willing to do that. He's got Illinois State again, the FCS playoff. He's done a really great job there. Yeah, but they should have give him the chance to have Danny Hope. Looking back.
Why has he been there so long? Does he not want to move up? I don't know. I mean, like he didn't. He's been there forever.
I don't know. I don't know if he's ever got a shot. Like ever. I think he might have got interviewed for coordinator at the Division I level, but not head coach. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe he didn't want to. I don't. Maybe he was waiting. Maybe I don't know.
Could be. He's got to be getting close to think about retirement at this age.
He's never really seemed like a a serious candidate at Purdue outside of with Hope when Hope was hired. I mean,
Right.
when Braum was hired, he wasn't really considered a serious candidate. Didn't
Would have
seem like
loved Braum to give him a call for D coordinator. Braum went through 8,000 of them. So been taking him over Bob Diaco, for God's sake. Oh man.
Yeah.
Any other candidates you want to throw out there we haven't talked about? Like I said, Andrew, earlier, if this search is anything like 2022, we haven't even mentioned the guy who's going to be hired.
Did you talk about David Shaw?
Did not talk about David Shaw. He is on the Broncos staff right now as some sort of advisor.
I feel like his name popped up or someone suggested that a while ago.
Yeah.
A while ago. I don't know. How would you feel about that? I mean,
no staff, no current staff.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of my thought. No staff and no players, but then I don't remember how he left Stanford. It seemed kind of odd.
He resigned.
Yeah. Was he just done with college?
He was going to probably end up getting fired.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. I mean, he had Andrew Luck and then McCaffrey.
Toby Gerhardt, Christian McCaffrey. Pretty easy to win with some of those guys.
I mean, you get some pretty stellar college players, and then
Bryce Love was pretty good running back too in college, and Kobe Fleener and Luck days. He had some Richard Sherman. Was he? I think that was Harbaugh. Harbaugh had Sherman on defense, I think.
Yeah, so he'd be. I think I'd put him above like Mullen and Chris, but kind of in the same bucket for me.
Oh, SPAC defense, yeah, in the Breeze Ordinary was awesome. That 03 defense is the best defense I've ever seen at Purdue. That 03 team was the best team I've ever seen at Purdue, even better than the Rose Bowl team. They had a few close losses and a whooping to Michigan.
So back to a few minutes ago, someone, I don't remember who said it, this is like a legacy hire.
Yeah.
For Babinski. Do you think that means? Does it play into it? Like, okay, he's gonna. I kind of go. Is he gonna go? I can see it going both ways. Like, man, I went really young, up and comer. I'm gonna go super safe, and it's gonna be Paul Chris, Dan Mullen. As far as like guys who've been there, done that. Yeah, it's been a while. That's what kind of scares me. Is kind of flipping the other way.
Yeah, I don't think anything's off the table.
Yeah.
No.
I think he's gonna go after a current head coach. Because I feel like if it was one of those guys, we would know something by now.
Because he kept saying NIL stuff on Monday. And if you're not a current coach, like Mullen and Chris, since they've been out of it in last 2 years, college football's changed so much in 2 years. So yeah. Lindsay here. This one was a long shot. Mike Norvell. His body language says he wants out of Florida State, so y'all might can get him cheap because he's looking for a fresh start. Make the call. I think he gets one more year at Florida State with their new coordinator hires.
Yeah.
With Gus Malzahn and then the guy from Nebraska. But I mean, he's only had one. Yeah, I mean, his year was pretty bad this year, but he can coach. I mean, he coached well at Memphis. And that's interesting. Well, you brought up Ryan Silverfield earlier. Nobody else has mentioned him tonight from Memphis. So he's another one I wouldn't mind.
He's another one of those things where, like, I feel like if it was him, would we know something? I mean, it is only Tuesday, but
and maybe I don't know. And also the Babinski saying 7 to 10 days is a pretty candid answer.
I said at the beginning, I was like, is he saying that because it's the person is in the playoff game, or is it because that's the window before everything, like the portal opens, all that kind of stuff happens? Like, is he just kind of giving a safe estimation there?
Last year after Indiana announced Allen, it took him 5 days to announce Cignetti.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved pretty fast.
And Walters, it was a lot. It
felt like a year.
It was a week and a half, and Illinois wasn't in a conference championship game or anything. But
no.
I don't remember if anybody else serious candidates were, and if Walters wasn't 1A or something, or where he fell in that. But
Bo Pelini, maybe Bob said he is kind of crazy though. He was at Youngstown State at one time, but I don't think he's there anymore.
Scott Frost, he's available, right?
Oh, yeah, he's definitely available. Earlier, we got a comment. It was a joke, but said, how about this? Gruden head coach, Scott Frost, OC, Lovie Smith, DC. There you go. $40 million payroll right there just for 3 guys. Any other guys you want to talk about before we flip the script and talk a little basketball before we close up one of our longer podcasts we've had in a while?
I can't even any other names. I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of like the ones that have been floated around a lot, or if it's going to be someone just completely out of left field.
Well, Biscuit keeps things pretty close to his chest.
Yeah,
and it kind of seemed like has anybody? Nobody's been hired. I know there's like Jamie Chadwell is rumored to
UCF,
but also that could be like an agent leak as far as like, hey, how do you get a bidding war? I saw like Charlie Huff, and again, not that it matters, or like he's super interested in Purdue, but
Southern Miss too is a rumor.
But then if he's like super interested in Purdue, again, is it negotiating leverage, whatever? Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think.
Ed, I'm out. If that happens, I'm out. Ed, you got to fill in my spot, Ed, from Bowl Breakdown from now on. I'm out. Rudy, I was all for this guy in 2013, but he took the job before Purdue. Yeah. Dave Doran, he's been at NC State since 2013. Yeah, coached under Bielema, Wisconsin.
Teams know how to fight, that's for sure.
Yeah. He's rumored he wants out in Raleigh. So.
Did you guys talk about Chip Kelly? That was the one name.
We did talk about Chipper.
Yeah.
He popped up. I couldn't believe his odds were so high. I
couldn't believe he's number 2.
Yeah.
Unless that's also his agent out there throwing out like, hey, he's interested.
Who's the South Florida head coach?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Now I'm intrigued. I've done so much research the past 3 days on so many of these guys that I didn't know much about before.
Alex Golesh.
Oh, I did see someone.
Oh, I saw his name.
I did see this name up there. Yeah.
The largest turnaround in USF program history and second largest in FBS in 2023 with a 6-win improvement over the Bulls' 2022 record. First bowl bid since 2018 and first bowl since 2017. Oh my god!
Get him.
Get him on a flight. Cool that Lou Holtz's, was it his son?
Skip.
Skip Holt.
God,
that was the laziest list I've ever seen. He's been on every list of Purdue since 1980s. Not really.
Hey, CBS Sports called Alex Golesh a top 15 coach under 40 in April of 2023.
Let's look here. He's only been a head coach for 2 years. He's career 13-12.
He's from Ohio.
Yeah, his own Ohio State. Let's see here. Yeah, they went 7-6 last year, 6-6 this year. Yeah.
Ultra fast-paced offense.
Ooh.
Program's first 3,000-yard passer. And then a walk-on receiver with the first 1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah. Lou Holtz coming out of retirement. That was a good laugh. I did that chuckle there. Thank you. I just think of the many times I wanted to see Mark May just punch him right in his face on the college football final shows.
Did anybody talk? Did you guys talk about Ryan Day when he gets fired?
We did. There was about Ryan Day.
Too well.
I'd take him in a heartbeat if the timeline if they'll match up, but they're not going to match up.
So we'll go 11-1 next year because we'll lose to Michigan. Big whoop. I don't care.
We'll make the playoff. I'll sign it every time. We can lose
kick
the
Michigan crap out of Ohio State. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and we'll beat Indiana. That's what we really care about, right?
Yeah.
And we beat Notre Dame in that scenario. I mean, yeah, we're used to losing. We get to be with. Oh, we don't play Wisconsin next year. Never mind. Darn, we still don't beat Wisconsin. Damn it. I still can't believe Fickles has a pin out for them. So, never know. You never know. Flipping the script just for a few minutes to basketball, where Purdue is November champs for the 4th straight year. We're not scared to play in these MTE events, Hurley. What'd you guys think of the wins over NC State and Ole Miss?
NC State kind of felt like what I thought it was going to be, of just kind of Purdue, almost kind of like how the Final Four game went, like kind of got the lead and just kind of held firm. Ole Miss got a little worried there, not gonna lie. We got down
on fire,
and I was like, this feels like this is just one of those days where you kind of just get snowed over, which could suck because we obviously were up by 17, but I knew being that early was not going to suck. It was awesome.
It felt like, okay, get up 17 early in the first half. Yeah, it was 10 minutes into the game or something. Like it was tough to keep it, but still, like man, would have ended up as like that kind of would have felt like a bad loss. You get up by almost 20 points at any point.
That would have been the narrative was
lose,
17 lead, let alone that it took it would have taken 30 minutes to overcome that. But yeah, I thought gutsy win for sure. I mean, it was a Miles Colvin game. Welcome.
Oh yes.
20.
How about him and Heidi's 2 blocks? I guess Heidi's might have been called goaltending, but I think it was bogus. I don't remember if it was
both were. They both said they review just to review it. I think that's why they did it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Stupid. Yeah. It just pisses me off when refs do that, but whatever. Yeah, that was an insane block. But yeah, I mean, this new starting lineup is proven to be pretty damn good.
Just need Jakar to hit a few more threes.
Yeah, which is
he's getting so many open looks.
Yeah, I mean he's shooting I think 15% right now on the year.
They look good. It's not like
and it's not like he's like a bat. Like he won what was like the Allen Iverson 3-point contest, whatever thing. Like after his season, like he was a good 3-point shooter in high school and college or in the AAU. So hopefully, I mean he's gonna get those looks because teams are gonna leave him open. So hopefully he can come around and at least be respectable. It needs to be Fletcher, but at least maybe be low to mid 30s.
Just someone to keep him honest. I mean, not on a high volume, but yeah.
I mean, Trey. Go ahead.
It's interesting. Painter's kind of, this could be a 1-game thing. Kind of went mainly to a 7-man rotation. I mean, technically 8, but CJ Cox only played a couple minutes.
Didn't play the second half.
I don't think it's going to be like that every game. I think there's some games that CJ will be feeling it, and he'll get more of a run than some of the other guys. And I don't know how much Burgess is going to.
Yeah.
I think Berg's done. I mean, there'll be a game somebody gets a foul trouble. He probably has to come in, but I mean, he went from starter to not play, 10th man not playing at all. I just don't know.
I was a little surprised that Burgess didn't play. I thought First played pretty well outside of can't finish.
Caleb the Elf.
Gosh, he gets the ball 3 feet from the basket. It's like blocked by the rim. Like can't.
Yeah.
He jumps well, but he jumps slow. It's weird. It's really
for as lucky as he is. Yeah, it's like his explosiveness to get up there is slow. But I think that's probably why Burgess isn't playing because he essentially is Caleb First. I think Caleb's just been playing better overall outside some of that. It seems no big guys for us. Berg's done. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, he worked really hard, but hopefully he'll get some shots.
Keep working on it, and maybe he can find his way back in.
And maybe it was more matchup. It was maybe he's hurt. I don't know, but because I mean, NC State, Ole Miss, a little more athletic than what Purdue's going to see in the Big Ten.
100%. Yeah, that's where I get a little worried just because like the Big Ten has so much more size. It may be.
And I mean, Kaufman Wren's going to get in foul trouble at some point.
Yeah.
And you're going to need 10 minutes from Berg because First isn't going to be able to do it all by himself if, say, Kaufman Wren gets 2 quick fouls.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's crazy to think Big Ten play starts this week.
And then takes like a month off.
I don't like how they do that, but
Iowa won on a buzzer beater.
Did it?
Yeah, they were down, they were up like double digits when we started this podcast, and then one of our friends sent a text to our group chat. They had the ball with like less than a second left, and the guy hit a 30-footer. Josh Dix hit a 30-footer to win by 1, which kind of was like I hate both those teams so much, so I'm not sure if I'm happy that Iowa won or not. Wisconsin, Michigan's just started. Wisconsin's definitely probably the surprise of the Big Ten right now.
Every year at this point.
Yeah. They've got their guard, who's probably, at least right now, the best transfer so far in the country. And Michigan's playing a fun style of basketball, getting away from Juwan Howard. So, and then the old Pac-12 Big Ten matchup, Washington at UCLA tonight at 10:30.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. But they got Indiana that doesn't play Big Ten games this week.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. Whatever.
How does that work out?
I don't know. They do play 2 coming up, but it's next week, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they have their next game is Miami of Ohio.
Yep. So I don't know how that happened though, but I have not watched outside of Purdue. I have not watched much college basketball this year so far. I will. It always takes me a little while.
I watched I watched a lot of Maui. Watched the downfall of UConn, which was hilarious. I try to watch some of the. I watched a little bit of Illinois. They look really good, unfortunately. Yeah. Obviously, I watched a lot of Indiana with my wife.
I watched a little bit of Indiana against Louisville.
Bad. They look bad against Louisville, and
it was funny.
Gonzaga was hilarious. But I was really impressed with obviously Trey being the tournament MVP. Obviously Colvin, big shot. I thought. I mean, everybody played well. I thought for the most part. Yep. Yeah. I'm really surprised they didn't call a foul when Braden got trucked at the end of that game. I mean, I guess I can't say I'm not surprised. But the fact that
officiating's so inconsistent anymore.
Yeah. But I thought, I mean, to be able to get down 7 or whatever when that team was that hot and to stick with it, like it was.
I thought they were toast when they got down 7. To be honest,
what was it? It was like
it was like 4 minutes left in the game or something. They were down by 7.
But in that stretch, like Ole Miss was like 12 of 15 from 3. But then outside that stretch, they were like 3 for 12. It's wild.
They hit their first like 6 or something to start the second half.
Yeah,
like
it was ridiculous.
Or something.
Like it was Alabama last year in Toronto.
Yeah, like in that probably like halfway through the first half to the probably midway of the second half, they were like it was like a 50-something to 20-something run. For them. Like it was. I thought, when that happened, I was like, I think I told you, I was like, this feels like it's kind of over, and then they kind of fell back to average, and Purdue got rebounds when they need to get them. And then obviously big like Fletch hit a big 3, Colvin hit a big 3 to kind of get that going. Braden, I mean, best point guard in the country. It's just wild to see his development.
Yeah, it had a big game feel. It was an NCAA tournament matchup. I think Ole Miss will be a tourney team. I'm tired of seeing Chris Beard get away. Your teams are tough. SEC is a good conference. SEC is very deep this year.
Yeah, because that's probably like a middle of the pack SEC team too. So it's that's gonna be a good one. Yep.
So, but 2 games this week at Penn State Thursday, and then at home against Maryland on Sunday. Thursday's a 6:30 tip on Fox Sports 1. Sunday's a nooner on BTN.
Yeah, Penn State game. Don't know yet.
I will not be there, but I'll be on my couch watching.
Yeah. Penn State gives me a lot of worry. They're gonna it's a road game, but then they've been playing pretty well. They get up and down the floor. I know Ace Baldwin essentially called out Braden, which should hopefully work in Braden's favor at Big Ten Media Day, saying he was looking forward to the Purdue game the most to guard Braden since Braden was preseason Big Ten Player of the Year. But I think they've got a pretty good defensive squad right now, and they can they're long and lanky, and like to get out and run. So obviously our Purdue's defense, which hasn't been great, will definitely be up for the challenge.
I hate playing at Bryce Jordan Center, but I'd rather play there than Cracker Jack box we played in last couple of times.
Yeah. The Palestra was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. But didn't we play him? Did we not play him in the Cracker Jack box? Was that what I'm thinking?
That was Illinois. That was Illinois when Coleman Hawkins literally just gave that game in. that helped Purdue kind of get in. That was when Purdue would lose a game. And we would need Illinois to lose a game, and they would lose a game.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I'm glad we get Maryland at home. I'm glad we're not going to Maryland this early on, because we've had a bad history of dropping one of these early in December.
Yeah,
Northwestern last year. Yeah,
games they have no business losing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but hopefully, we've already went through that Marquette, and Penn State's got to play defense a little similar to Marquette. So, I think Purdue wins both games, but I think Penn State will be close. And I think they win fairly comfortably against Maryland. That's my predictions.
Yeah, I think the Penn State game will be probably single digits if I had to guess. But I think Maryland, should be hopefully double digits. I'm curious to see how they match up with Derek Queen. He's a freshman big guy. He's kind of like we're used to with Travion. He can kind of pop out, shoot. Got really good handles for a big guy. Can rebound the ball really, really well, which we've seen this could be an issue, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep. So thank God for Matt Painter. Trust Matt Painter. Which somebody had a question. Oh man, I don't know if I can find it now. It was a Painter related question. I wanted to save it for basketball.
Oh, I remember seeing it. Yeah, I know.
I gotta go way up here. Yeah, I am not finding it. If you find it, Webby, go ahead and click. Oh, here it is. I found it. It's from Ed. Is it too early to think about Painter's replacement? I mean, how much does he have left? Another 10 years? Call me crazy, but it's worth thinking about. No, I think about it a lot because I keep thinking, man,
Thompson.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Now, does PJ stay the whole time, or does he leave and get some experience and come back? I don't know.
I think he stays. I don't know. I think he's there for the long haul.
I don't even want to think about Purdue without Matt Painter right now because Purdue's been so fortunate with 40 plus years, 2 head coaches, especially now with the way college athletics is. That's never going to happen again. So, yeah. And then Ed, appreciate you watching tonight and all the comments. Really, really, really appreciate it. As long as we keep improving and learning from our mistakes, that's what's important now. Yep. This team will be better in March than they are right now. I'm pretty confident now. So, and they've been pretty good. They're 8th in the country, 7-1. So,
and just seems like and getting better. Like the rebounding was a concern 3 weeks ago, but then it's still only a few games. But NC State Ole Miss, it seemed a lot better.
When Heidi and Colvin are rebounding, helps out a lot. Helps out a lot. In the first couple games, they weren't doing that so much, but lately they have been. So, absolutely. So. Well, let's pay some bills real quick and let you know who this podcast is brought to you by. And one of our sponsors is Mad Mushroom. Mad Mushroom has been serving Boilermakers since 1993. They're located in the heart of West Lafayette and known as the home of the original cheese sticks. Whenever myself, Andrew, or Evan visit, we like to sit down and have an ice cold beer while trying out their latest pizza of the month, which I got the graphic. I know, Aaron, and you did the read on Sunday, but I got the graphic now. The December pizza of the month is the chicken pot pie. Chicken gravy topped with chicken, peas, chopped carrots, mozzarella cheese, and covered with puff pastry pieces, starting at just $14. So next time you're in West Lafayette, stop in and tell them the Boiler Breakdown sent you for $5 off any order over $20. And any Boiler Breakdown listener or viewer can use the coupon code BREAK5. That's all caps, BREAK5 to claim your discount online at madmushroom.com. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. Sounds like a good spot to stop for a pregame lunch or a victory lunch on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So, Webby, if somebody's still Christmas shopping, me, where's one spot they could go to get some great Purdue merch and apparel?
Well, that's the shop. The Purdue owned and operated, which is awesome. We love partnering with these types of businesses. Bringing hometown apparel to fans since 2011. They started out in obviously their garage, and they've now got their 3 retail locations across Indy: one in Carmel, one in Broad Ripple, and one in downtown Indy. That's their newest one. But if you're looking for a sweet deal, go to the shopindy.com. Use promo code BREAKDOWN. You'll get 25% off your entire order.
Yeah, I need to make an order. I keep saying that. I really do. We're 22 days away from Christmas Day, so I got to get on it. I'm just got to make a trip down, not make an order. I got to make sure I get what I want at this time point. So, any final thoughts, fellas? Football, basketball related, anything you want to get out there before we call this show a close?
Hopefully, we're talking about a new coach next week when we do our regularly scheduled pod.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's one we like. And that's what it comes down to. Even if it's not an exciting quote unquote hire, I just want somebody who can win some football games.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through this year again. That was miserable. Just miserable. So, yep. Well, fellows, it was fun. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Glad you could make your what are we going to season podcast debut tonight?
Probably.
Yeah. So let's boil up, hammer down, beat the Nittany Lions, beat the Terrapins, and hire a good football coach.
Boiler up.